I'm the music god CJ playing. This is the Noise Report. You know what we do here? We laugh, we have fun, we interview cool and interesting people, or pretty much anyone that I can con into coming on this shit show that I call a podcast. Um, you know how it goes. We do introductions and then we see how fast we can run this damn thing off the rails and end up at Nowhereville.
Hell
So
yeah.
over down there and over there, I think, however they're oriented on your screen at the time of editing
Where am I?
is
Am I there or am I there?
yeah, I think you're here and
I'm down south.
there somewhere. Um, Anywho, this is two members of the band Love Sick Drug. I'm going to
Yes.
let them introduce themselves, tell you who they are, a little bit about their background, and then I got notes,
All right.
which I
Ladies
almost
first.
never have. So please introduce yourself, and I'll shut up.
Ladies first.
Okay. Hey, I'm Erin Marie Garrett. I am the lead singer for Lovesick Drug, and we are a awesome band out of Dallas.
Yeah. I am Billy Blair. I'm the lead guitarist, songwriter. I do other things too. I mean, actor, and she does too, and she's a model. So we do all kinds of stuff in the band, to be honest.
Yes.
But we're
um,
we're a cool rock band.
Billy just pimps me out. He's like, "Can you please go take one for the team for this?" I'm like, great, okay, here we go.
It's like
Rock and
fucking here
roll.
we go. It's like that story you were talking about with the
Yeah. He's like,
mushroom. Like,
"I'm
let's go.
yeah.
it's I'm sort of known for saying inappropriate things at the worst time. Um, I I'm s- you got to remember I'm in my 50s. I grew up in the era of Sam Kinison and Andrew Dice Clay and
Hey,
George
dude. Fuck
Carlin.
yeah.
Um, so I make jokes about stuff that I think are freaking hilarious. Other people tend to be offended by them. Um,
See,
we
that's
were in
that's
Walmart shortly after the Land O'Lakes thing, where they changed the logo and took
yeah.
the native chick off it. And I made a remark to my son. I was like, "Yeah, just like a white person, kick the Indian off the land, but keep the land." And my son was like, "Dude, seriously?" And I was like, "I'm sorry. It's what they did is they kept all the land background, but they just, kicked the
Right.
Indian out of the picture, kicked the native out of the picture." And he's like, "You probably could have kept that thought to yourself." And I was like, I thought it was
Let's
funny, but
let's see. But
you know,
see, we grew up with the Gen X, man. I think the Gen
yeah,
X was kind of like that.
yeah, I mean, a lot of times I say stuff before my brain fully kicks in. Um, it didn't help. Didn't help that I grew up in the front seat of a Peterbilt with a father who, 55 years trucking, and we lived in that truck for the first 8 years of my life. So when we stopped for dinner, we would stop at truck stops, and there would be 20 or 30 truckers sitting there talking, and they paid no attention to the 6-year-old kid who was sitting with them. They were just talking like they were truckers. Um,
Yeah.
so I heard conversations that they weren't appropriate for most truck drivers, let alone 5-year-old
Yeah.
kids. So by the
But
time
you
I
were
started,
exposed to it.
yeah, so by the time I started school, my friends would be like, "Hey, knock knock," and I'd be like, "Knock knock. Did you hear about the two truckers that went into the chicken house?" And the teacher would be like, "Oh, you can't tell that joke," and I was like, "Why? I know how to tell it." And the teacher's like, "It's not appropriate." And I was like,
Oh my
"Okay,
God,
if you
dude.
say so."
That's
Um, Anywho, Love Sick Drug, great
love
band
sick.
out of the Dallas area. Um, I lived in Dallas for a while, not long. I lived in
How
the
long ago
Irving
was that?
1998, 1999, I
Okay.
think it was. I lived in
Yeah.
Irving. We managed an apartment complex on 12th and St. James, I think it was.
Oh wow.
There's like a Kroger there. It's like right
Yeah.
across from the Kroger. Uh,
A
used
buddy
to
of mine
be,
lives out in
yeah,
Irving.
used to be called St. James Townhouses. I don't know what it's called now. Um, but we managed it for a while and it was great. Not a
Cool.
big city guy, truthfully, so I didn't explore a lot because I don't do well in the city, unfortunately.
Yeah, some people do, they don't. I like the city.
I I grew up on a 400-acre farm, so
Ah,
I like wide open spaces and
wide open. Yeah.
you know, um,
One of these days I'll do that. I don't know, maybe.
tell the story of how the band came together because you guys have done a lot of stuff. You've done a lot of acting. Uh,
Yeah.
you've played ladies football and done modeling, and there's a lot of personalities and a lot of different backgrounds and influences that kind of
Well,
are
there's,
all coming together.
yeah. No, there's a cool story because the our background, well, Aaron and I, we both do film, and that's how we collaborated with the band. But it goes back. We've had the band before with a different lineup, and it didn't work out. And we recorded it, and we've been working on this record for like a really long time. And it's like, thank God it's out now.
Yeah.
But that lineup didn't work out, and it was just where could we find the perfect lead singer?
Right.
And then we had a mutual friend, actor friend of ours, and I was hanging out with him, and he goes, "Hey, why don't you ask Aaron?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck yeah, that's right. Yeah, she sings. All right." So then I texted her, I reached out to her, and she's like, "Oh yeah." And so we hung out, and then yeah, it just meshed up, and next thing you know, we're knocking them out. And then I mean, I guess she was overwhelmed because we were already in the studio, so we just like got her familiar with the songs, drug her in the studio like ASAP, and like, all
Yeah.
right, get behind the mic and sing.
He's like, here, learn this. I'm like, dude, it's like 12 songs. I can't learn it overnight.
But she nailed it, man.
You're fine. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
And
and that's the beauty about it, having a good engineer. Is just
right. Yeah.
our engineer Jeff Mount.
It's awesome.
He,
So
yeah,
great.
he goes, man. He's got it under control. He led her the way. I mean, she's got the voice, so he helped her, like especially I think it was the harmonies on your own voice, right? It was kind of you were
Mm-hmm.
that was difficult, I guess. I don't know, or it was a handicap for you, and it was like, nah, man, you could do it, and then she just did it naturally. It's like, oh, boom, there it is. So it's true. Like all the magic is in the studio, man, and you don't even know it. Even if you're not prepared for it, it just comes out. And
Well,
then
let me
Sometimes,
interject and say something about Billy, though. He and Lou have been basically, and don't take this wrong, but like my stage mom.
bam.
They are.
I know.
Billy's got kids that are musicians too, so he gets it. But it definitely, and I said this in the last interview, it definitely makes a difference when you're working with people that number one believe in you, and number two want you to succeed because they want the team to succeed.
oh
So
yeah,
that's why our dynamic really works because, I mean, especially me and Lou and Billy, we're all circus freaks anyway. I mean, I've been in entertainment since I was a kid, and I know Billy has too. I mean, I've done a million things.
Yeah.
I even perform as Elsa for Disney stuff. It's like I'm in leather and then I'm in sparkles. It's like, whatever. But I mean, Billy and Lou, especially, like the first time I got in studio with them, they both had their faces to the glass and they're like, yeah, you got this. Or like, try this. And it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
like, thanks, mom. It's the
Yeah,
greatest.
that's the thing.
It's the greatest.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get excited, man. You're like, oh, try this.
Yeah.
We try to encourage each
Yeah.
other.
I love it. I love it.
Or if it's not
I get it.
too good, we're like,
Then we just make fun of each other.
yeah.
I get it. Like growing up, like I said, I grew up on a 400-acre farm, across the road from another 400-acre farm that my grandfather grew up on. It's the family farm bicentennial. I wanted nothing more than to get off that farm. I was going to be a rock star.
Nice.
I Dad was like, learn to drive a truck. Grandpa's like, learn to drive a tractor, and I didn't want to hear none of it. Okay, like I was a fan of bands like Wasp and Hanoi Rocks, and it was just like
Oh yeah.
I'm moving to LA. I'm going to be a rock star. Grandpa's like, well, what if it doesn't work out? You got to have a plan B. Plan B was I'm going to be a rock star. That's it. That there was no plan anything. I'm going to be a rock star. And I did that up until, we formed a band. Um, Way ahead of our time. We make the joke now that we were metalcore before metalcore ever existed. Um,
Nice.
we we were death metal without the shitty death metal vocals, basically.
Cool, man.
Lyrics.
So Atlantic Records came along, said we want to give you a contract, but
Oh, really?
the deal with the thing is you have to go out on tour first to prove yourself, to prove that you can handle it, blah blah blah. So they put us on this tour. It was opening for Crowbar and Pantera. It was 6 weeks before Cowboys from Hell came out.
Holy shit, dude.
That's awesome.
So we're on this tour and we're in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Eastern Texas. It's the middle of freaking July. It's hot. There's 5 of us in this passenger van crammed with gear. We're making enough money to share a Happy Meal at the end of the night.
Fuck yeah.
At the
Success.
end of 10 days, we were in Minden, Louisiana. We pulled over at 2 a.m. on the side of the road. And we thought, you know what? We all got out of the van and we're standing there like this and like, look, we're either going to jail or we're going home because we were just like, okay, look, where's the drugs? Where's the women? Where's all of this great rock star shit at, right? And we're like, this isn't it. We were making more money playing local gigs at home than we were for this. So we knew right then, like, okay, we're not cut out for this shit. Like, we're gonna go back home. We were putting on local shows making $400 a night.
That's
And
not bad.
we're out here sweating our balls off in a Walmart parking lot for like $18, and it was like, okay, this fucking sucks. And well, you got to pay dues. No, fuck all
No.
that. Like, I could pay dues at home, sleep in my own bed, and make 10 times the money. And that was the end of my rock star dreams. I was
But
like,
the,
look,
but that's the thing, dude. You listen to these stories and they're like sleeping on the floor with cockroaches on their face.
yeah,
Oh,
They talk about that, but they're just fortunate enough, I guess they didn't quit and they
right.
blow up. It's those stories you hear, but not everybody has it.
But that's the thing. Like I learned, like, look, it takes a special breed
Yeah,
to push through. When you listen to people like Henry Rollins
yeah,
talk about what they went through, and when you hear what the punk bands went through, and a lot of the early metal bands of during tours and sleeping on people's floors, sleeping in bathtubs,
yeah.
it's like, God, that's horrific. Like I
I
would have
still
never
do that.
survived that, man. Oh, but that's what I'm saying. Like I learned that it takes a special breed, and I was kind of like, look, I'm still going to be in music, but I'm going to explore other avenues. I can produce records. I can be a radio DJ. I
Yeah,
can be a photographer or whatever. I could still be around the people that I love, but it's not going to be sleeping in a Walmart parking lot for $18, you
yeah.
know.
yeah.
No,
But it was a
man.
fun tour. The Pantera guys were amazing and treated us really well. The Crowbar guys are super funny, um, and it
Wow.
was awesome to see them blow up.
But
Um,
again, another good story to tell, man. I mean, that's
it's
wonderful.
I love Texas. There's so many bands from Texas that I adore. I used to be really good friends with the guys from Palm Jack. Um,
Oh yeah, Pump Jack.
you
I know
know,
those guys.
yeah, those guys are amazing. Um,
Wow.
so I have an affinity for Texas music, whether it's Texas country or country. Yeah, Texas country. Kevin Fowler and Aaron Watson, that kind of stuff, or whether
Yeah.
it's the metal bands or whatever. Um, there's a there's a spirit and attitude from the Texas bands that you don't see in other places, you know,
And
they're
I get it too, man. I get that.
like I don't know if it's just what the state is about or if it's maybe the temperature in the summer brings something extra out. Um,
It's it's just being big, the state being so big and everything big
yeah,
from Texas. I don't know. Maybe it's
yeah.
that.
Um, so talk about the record. I can't remember the record name off the top of my head.
Love Bite.
Love Bite. Okay.
Love
I should
Bite. Yeah.
remember that. That's what's one of my favorite
That was
Japanese.
like the last, I think, I want to say I came up with that. That was the last minute. We were just like talking about like having an album that just bites you, or bites, like they always say, it
Right.
bites you in the ass. Hey, and then, we're lovesick drug. And then we're like, hey, what about like, we're giving you a love bite.
I
Mhm.
I love that
Aaron, I
title
can't remember.
because
Was that it? What's that?
I love the title of the band. Like it's it's such a rock and roll name. Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny. I'm probably going to be the first person to make this comparison, but when I was listening to the musical part, like some of the guitars, some of the trippiness of the rhythms and all of that,
Yeah.
it reminded me of another band that was also LSD, which was Life, Sex, and Death. Um,
Oh, shit. I forgot. Yeah.
it had some of that same sort of heaviness and the kind of trippy rhythms and not exactly the same, but for some reason it kind of had that sort of
Well, you know what?
attitude and
No, yeah. But that's the beauty of us, man. It's just like, so, like Lou and I, we come from like a heavy
Mhm.
background. He's more, I don't want to say death metal, but more of the metal.
Mhm.
Right.
And then I like the funk and
Mhm.
the good groove from Black Sabbath to Alice in Chains, Soundgarden
Right.
to Red Hot Chili Peppers, and any kind of funk stuff. And then I
Yeah.
would combine that, and then we got the background, of course. They follow along, but Aaron, and it's funny how when we're all like talking about our influences, and she goes, "Well, she's like, I like Christina Aguilera." And then but it's great. It's just like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect that,
Hey,
like when you're saying, hey, in a rock band.
we
But I
got
would
Prince and
say,
Bob Marley back there, so
yeah,
um
there you go. There you go. So, yeah, no, but I like the collaboration. And when they ask, like, what do you describe yourself? I go, well, how about like, you know, Motley Crue meets um, Black Sabbath meets Christina Aguilera.
right.
And it's great. It's like, wow, that is a good mix, I guess.
Yeah, it's the great thing about music and modern technology is the ability to create sound in ways that was
Yeah,
never capable 20 years ago. Um,
hell yeah.
for example, out of Japan right now, you have a band called Crossfaith who takes metalcore and mixes it with like EDM.
Yeah,
And it's the most aggressive sounding shit because you have these massive EDM beats, but do you have this completely crushing beats and breakdowns over it?
yeah,
Um, you have bands like Gangsta Grass who won an Emmy for the Justified theme that are mixing bluegrass and New York style hip hop,
yeah.
which, your brain says that should never work. Like
Mhm.
Right,
Wu-Tang
right.
and bluegrass should never work. But it's amazing. And I love, what made Prince great is
Yeah,
Prince did the same thing two times in a row. He would go from an R&B record to a rock record to a funk record to a
yeah,
soul record back to a rock record.
yeah.
You never knew what Prince was going to do. Like,
No, it's like you're reinventing yourself. Like
yeah,
Madonna was like that for a while. Like her music was like different all the
Her.
time.
Yeah.
Who else is like
I
that?
love that.
A lot of good artists, bands that do that.
The Cher did it too, over and
Yeah,
over.
Yeah.
yeah. You reinvent yourself.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that that helps you prolong your career or longevity of your sound. But then again, man, you got bands like AC/DC or ZZ Top, and it
Right.
sounds the same. You know what I mean? It's the same shit, but it works for them. So you never know what's
Right.
really going to work or not. I guess you just got to gamble.
I mean, here's the thing. Sometimes you find a formula that works for you and you just
Yeah,
stick with it.
yeah,
Um,
true.
but and it's not just in music. The I guess it was about a week ago, we were talking about Jason Statham. The new trailer came out for his new movie.
Yeah,
And my friend were like, it's the same movie he always does. And I was like, dude, Statham is like the AC/DC of acting.
that's
It's
a
always the
good.
same thing, but it's always awesome. Like you know
Yeah,
exactly what you're gonna get with Jason Statham. It's the same with Nicolas Cage.
Or Liam Neeson for that matter.
Um,
yeah. Or
I
freaking
was so
Jack Nicholson.
angry. I was so angry 3 years ago when they brought that movie they did with Nicolas Cage, where it's Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah. Standing Still.
Literally 10 years ago, my friend's got a podcast, and in like 2009, I made a joke one day that every Nicolas Cage movie is Nicolas Cage starring as Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And
Oh
I've
yeah.
done this on a dozen podcasts. And then all of a sudden this movie comes out and I'm like, all right, who the fuck do I sue? Like somebody had to have heard that because they literally have Nicolas Cage starring as Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
man.
somebody owes
That,
me money for that. Um, but
that was like an inevitable, man. That had to
yeah,
happen.
but I mean, if it works for you, it's awesome. But if you can be that guy who reinvents himself constantly, that's amazing as well, you know. And
Yeah.
some people have the ability to do every fucking thing. Jeff Scott Soto, for example, you know, this man could sing a fucking phone book and it just make it sound good. You know, he's done funk and he's done soul and he's done
Yeah.
hard rock. He's played with Milmstein, does Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's just like, okay, you know, is there something you can't fucking sing? Because I ain't heard yet what you can't do, you know?
Yeah. I guess another way is just like not giving a fuck, and then you just do it. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyways. You
Yeah,
like it, you like it.
yeah,
Not. Yeah.
I am a horrible singer. I love to sing. It doesn't stop me from singing, but I am a horrible singer. I fully admit that I don't know the first thing about singing. I sing and make
It just
noise
comes
and
out.
it comes out. Now, recently I have decided that, okay, I contacted Kenny Tamplin and said, hey, I want to take lessons with you because you seem to be somebody that I've admired for a really long time and you actually know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
So I've
Right on.
started taking lessons with him. Now, hopefully I will improve, but you know, I'm
You'll
sort of
sound
like a
better.
trained monkey.
You'll sound better in the shower from now on. It's like,
I mean, I'm a trained monkey. Like I learn in weird ways. So I've been trying to learn Tagalog for 38 years and still can barely speak the language. My brain just um doesn't comprehend
it's
it a little
overload or overload. Brain's overload.
bit.
I always say that.
Yeah, let's call it that.
I always say that. I forget a lot these days. I'm like, oh my God, it's just I got so much info.
So you've done a bunch of movies. I noticed that I have seen probably half of the movies you've been in.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty sure.
so I I found that kind of amusing because
Nice.
like I didn't realize about your acting and then I was reading it and I just watched One Day as a Lion. Um,
Oh, nice,
I
dude.
actually watched it because
I
I'm a
love that
huge
role.
Scott Kane fan. Um, and I love the fact that he went from son of a Hollywood star to hip hop artist to you know, um,
Yeah. You're talking about Scott.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was a
Um,
cool guy. He was a cool guy.
and one of the things I wanted to discuss, I know it was a minor part. You were in I Hope They Serve Bear in Hell.
Yeah, except dude, they deleted my scene.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you a funny story. That was like one of the first big movies, somewhat big movies that was gonna come
Right.
out in theater. And at the time I was touring with a band called Earshot. I was
Okay.
playing bass.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm sure
I know
you've
your
heard of them.
shot. Yeah.
And I was playing bass for them for like a summer. But it was a great experience. And so, it's the life I wanted, I got booked
Right.
that movie and I had to fly from wherever I was at on the road to Louisiana, Shreveport. I believe they shot there.
Okay.
And I was just out of it, dude. I just almost like didn't give a fuck. And I was playing a street musician. And so I just kind of did my thing and I made it funny and I made it all about me.
Right. Oh, well, that's what the
And
movie was,
and
basically.
yeah, but it just didn't mesh up to what the audition was. And I just totally did it differently. But nobody said anything about it. Like, hey, can you
Right.
do it again? They were like fist butting me and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, cool. I guess I did it right. And so when the movie came out, when it was in the theaters, I got my agent, I got friends. I go, let's go watch me in the big screen. And we're all right there. And I knew where it was going to go at, where I was supposed to be at. I go, hey, I was telling him, like, hey, I think this is the part. And then nothing. And I'm just like, I mean, it was still later in the movie, and everybody had that confused look at, I mean, even me, I was just like, oh,
Right.
shit. And
Wah,
like, to the end of the
wah.
movie, they go, dude, we didn't see you. I go, well, fuck. I guess I got cut out. And so
Welcome to Hollywood.
I reached out to the producer and then go, hey, I noticed I was in the movie. And he was straight up blunt, man. He goes, oh, yeah, it was horrible. The performance was horrible. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I made money for nothing. I told him that.
Right.
And that was it.
I mean, if you get
So,
paid, it's even if you don't end up
yeah,
there,
I
you
got
still
paid.
got paid. So,
But it was
um,
so embarrassing because I took it like, I felt like Mark Wahlberg with my entourage. And we show up at the theater and then we're like, all right, we're going to see me on the big screen. And then I'm fucking cut out. That was
I've
embarrassing.
I've always wanted to be in a movie or TV show, and I've never actually gone out for an audition because I don't know, like I'm kind of self-conscious and
Yeah,
um
you gotta like get over it, man. You just gotta go
yeah,
through it. Right. Aaron could speak for me on this part. You just go in there and just nail it. Just I don't know, man. You gotta black out everything else around you and focus like the reader or the other
yeah,
actor. You know, but you gotta do it. I mean, like that's why like I took theater in college and then I took what do you call it? Uh like other like oh my god, my like just uh
Movement theory
like
classes.
like workshops, stuff like that,
Yeah.
right.
And then this way you're like training yourself with people around you, and it's very nerve-wracking. But you you kind of just learn to forget about them and then focus on yourself. You know what I mean? It's like a meditation thing. You focus on you and then the character, and then it's just that artsy fartsy shit, man. But it
Yeah.
worked.
I'm
It worked out. I
yeah,
don't know what Aaron does. Aaron does the same thing.
I say I'm studying for my bachelor's in media communications right now, so I guess I'm gonna approach it from a different angle of instead of
Yeah.
maybe being an actor, be a writer or make my own stuff as far as social media and other shit, short movies and
Yeah.
uh, but it's anything that keeps me involved in this business. I just love the fact that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we could have never done this. You know, as
Oh
a
yeah, with technology, right?
with as a teenager, I grew up going from foster home to foster home, and the one thing that always followed me was I had walls full of posters from Metal Edge and Circus and you always stick the posters up, and
Oh yeah. Same here,
all of
dude.
those guys that I wanted to be like Zitro and Ron Keel, the guys from Tesla, the guys from Great White. I've interviewed all of them. I'm friends with most of them now. And
Nice, dude.
it's surreal because 15-year-old me is still inside saying, you couldn't have paid any amount of money to convince me at that age that
Yeah.
I could pick my phone up right now and call Ron Keel. I could pick my phone up and call Zitro from Exodus. I could pick my phone up and call Troy Laketta from Tesla. Like you could
Yeah.
have never paid me at that age to convince me that I'd be friends with the guys that I idolized.
Fuck
Um,
yeah, dude. That's
and
good though.
even talking to bands like you guys that maybe aren't, you know, up there yet, it's still amazing to talk to you guys and to hear the stories and the backgrounds and all the different things. There's always an angle
Yeah.
that has never been kind of explored before. And
Yeah.
um, I'm
Well, I
so,
appreciate that.
I feel so honored and privileged to be able to do this
Dude,
because
see, you found your niche. Sometimes this doesn't work, that doesn't work, but you found something, and like you said, I mean, you're doing it.
it's
That's a
just,
great freaking story.
it's always like you said, it's always reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
I've failed at so much,
About
but
what
I'm like, okay, if this doesn't work, then we do this. If this doesn't work, we do this. So Aaron, let's get you in because you haven't really said a lot, and
Oh
Yeah,
no,
get
I
her in
got,
there. She's the eye
you know,
candy of the thing.
I agree with you. I mean, I think it, regardless of what you set out to do, right? I mean, we all have an innate purpose in us that some people don't really discover yet, or not necessarily discover, but they don't allow to come out. And so a certain point when they release the fear, right? And I think when you finally accept this is who I am, this is what I was put here to do, it's such a freeing feeling. And you really can like push that passion. And for some of us are like, hey, I'm gonna figure out how to make a living at this. It may not be the
yeah,
biggest, and
Mm,
I mean, if anything, I learned so much in the last 2 years. I lost my dad 2.5 years ago,
mm,
to a plane crash. And it's one of those things that, you don't have tomorrow. You don't have another
right,
chance. So if you don't do it now, you're
yeah,
screwed. It's like you got to, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But then there's no regret. You look at it and you're like, you know
right,
what? I'll give it my shot. And if it does
yeah.
work, hell yeah, it's like you just
Oh
gotta do.
yeah.
And that's I think that's the major thing about success is it's like if you look at people like you said you've talked to that are very successful. I mean, Billy just told us a story about how he got cut out of a movie, but he's done a million since. It's like
right,
you got
Yeah.
those pieces in your life where you don't make it and you don't get what you want exactly, but you learn from it and you grow. And then when you get to that point where you're like, man, look where like you just said, 15
Yeah.
wouldn't have had these opportunities. It's like you've
yeah,
come spot where you've learned and it's a journey to get there. And then that way you appreciate it so much more, right? Like,
Correctamundo right there.
you know?
yeah. Like I love how tech. I guess the bigger thing is I love how technology has advanced to the point of it's opened doors in ways for people
Oh
to
yeah.
do things that they could have never done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The average musician now that can buy a good computer setup and some good microphones and a Pro Tools thing
Yeah.
can now basically record their record
At home.
in their bedroom. Um,
Yeah.
Now, yes, those can be both. That can be both good and bad because I have heard records that were recorded in a bedroom that were like, "Wow, you could have never told me that this was done in a bedroom."
Yeah.
And I've heard records that yeah, that was done in a like
Yeah.
like
Yeah. They
you
either
probably
got
shouldn't
in,
be within 50 feet of a microphone. You try to be nice about it, but there's just so much that you can kind of eh. Um
yeah.
Or to scratch track and loose bedroom with a bunch of cats around. I thought I was gonna die.
I mean,
So
Yeah.
learn.
That's how we write.
dude, I one of the worst mistakes I ever made, and we ended up turning it sort of on its head. I have this rapper from Detroit I work with named Chief. And we set up and we recorded one of his songs. And it was literally, I was married at the time, so it was literally in the dining room of my house. And when we got to the end of the track, we realized we could hear the dryer running in the background.
Damn dryers.
So, like, as we're as he gets to the end of his sort of third verse, he realizes that the dryer is running and that you can hear it in the headphones. And he's like, yeah, he's like, that's how fresh we are, dude. Dryer's running in the background live from the dining room. And I was like, he's like, well, you can cut that out. And I was like, no, dude, leave that in there because that was like, it just turned like this really
Embrace
weird
it.
mistake into this funny element of like it was sort of this stupid, dumb explanation of
Yeah.
we can hear the dryer because I didn't even realize when I set the microphones up that the dryer was running. I wasn't paying attention.
Just white noise.
And you know,
Dude,
um,
I've had that experience on set where, because you got to be quiet, but
yeah.
next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, nobody hears that freaking air conditioner. It's like, oh yeah, we forgot.
So,
But I don't
so
know. Sometimes it works. Like you can't hear it,
we
or they could do it on post.
yeah, we literally took it and when we had to create a name for like the publishing and all that, we couldn't think of a good name. And going with the, quiet on the set. Um, I'm known for doing like loud, obnoxious shit. So I just was like, well, what about riot on the set? So we literally just created the media. All my
Yeah.
media stuff is under riot on the set media. And people ask me, where did that come from? And it was just a stupid thing that popped into my head. And I thought it sounded cool. Other people have kind of looked at me like
Yeah.
I'm an idiot, but whatever.
No, those are
Um,
great, man. Those are great stories.
Where
You
do
know how,
people find you guys? Where do they find the record? Um, Obviously, you have a video for the song "Zombies," right? Or
It's
yeah.
only our two newer ones are The Trail, and then we just did Can't You See, which is kind of like our rap rock
okay.
one. I felt very
Yeah,
fresh, I have to say. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
We do have zombies, but again, that was the old lineup.
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, so we focus on the ones that we got out or
The newer ones.
the trail. The trail is also in a movie I'm in. You
Right.
can watch it. Corsicana. It's with
Yes.
Isaiah Washington. He stars and he
Nice.
that was his directorial debut, directing a movie. But the cool thing about that, after when it was rap, um, we had a little rap party at way out in the country where we shot the movie at some house slash house barn or horse barn. And Isaiah learned that I was in a band. He goes, "Hey, why don't you write a song for the movie?" And immediately I knew what to do. I go, "You know what? I got an idea." And so I went to the band. I said, "Hey, I got this. They're wanting a song." I go, "I got this idea." And so I played it, and then boom, just came. I mean, it came together like fast. And
Right.
that's what I like about like when you have the chemistry
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's on board and it just comes together. Boom. So I had to go through. Granted, I had to go through producers and other people. Like other persons involved with the movie. And finally, it all got approved. Doom, 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 doom. And then we got the tail end, the credit score. If you watch the movie, you'll hear
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
the trail. So, anyways, then we shot a video. Lou directed it, and it's very Western, funny
Cool.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love a good Western.
Oh,
yeah. You can watch that on YouTube on our
yeah.
YouTube channel. And then we just recently just did Can't You See, and it's a fun video, a mock-up of I kind of took the idea of Limp Bizkit. And
We
but
No,
it worked.
like
Huh?
fuck up rock
Little,
types. We're very goofy. Like if people are like, "Aren't y'all supposed to be metal?" We're like, we just start laughing. Like literally, Billy and I backstage. They're like, "Do you guys want shots?" We're like, "Can we get a cappuccino?" Like people just look at
Oh yeah, yeah. We're all about doing shots of coffee.
us. No, like we're
I
just gonna
mean,
caffeine up and go rock.
so you might as well laugh because no one gets out alive. So,
That
uh,
exactly. I mean that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
you
one thing
know,
I wanted to mention, like how we're talking about online, and then I don't know if we have time or not, but
yeah,
it
there's no
amazes me
time limit.
like it amazes me like you see all these like these influencers that are guitar players, drummers, and all they do is just record themselves, and then they got all these fucking followers, man. It blows my mind, and they're really, really good. And then they'll collaborate with
Some of
other.
them are.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, there's a lot of good ones, and especially like female players, like female
Yeah.
guitar players, female drummers, and then just, of course, they got the biggest following. And then just recently, I noticed like one that I follow, a guitar player, this Asian chick. Now she's the guitar player of the Smashing Pumpkins,
Yeah.
and she started off that way. So that's like a whole new avenue where you can go and then be noticed.
You know, the crazy thing about the internet, it has created and open avenues to people that would have never been where
Had
they're
the
at.
chance.
Um,
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Arnell, Arnell from Journey
Yeah,
literally was singing karaoke in the Philippines, and Jonathan's wife was there on a Bible trip and heard him singing and said, "Holy shit, he sounds like Steve." She took a video, sent it to Jonathan. Jonathan called to the Philippines and said, "Hey, do you want to be the singer of Journey? There's a plane ticket waiting for you at the airport." And he's been the singer of Journey for what, going on 20 years now, I think.
yeah, yeah.
You
But
know,
dude, look at Ripper Owens.
but I'm
He
you know,
he
Ripper
was in a tribute band.
um Juna is a name not a lot of people know.
Yeah,
She's the female Japanese drummer that goes completely insane.
right.
She just formed her own band. And there's others that, I see so many of them that are incredibly talented.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
there's
a
other
crazy
ones that I
phenomenon.
see that, even though I think they're incredibly talented, sometimes they let their talent sort of get in the way. The
Yeah.
drum guy, the Elias dude who, he does all the one-handed stuff.
Oh yeah, I know who you're
You
talking
can
about.
see that he's incredibly talented, but it's kind of like you're just completely overplaying. Like you're just
Yeah,
showing
yeah,
off for the sake of showing off. Like
yeah. No, I know
sometimes
who you're talking
less is
about.
more.
Yeah.
You know,
You
like
know?
if you're playing a song and you're just like one-handed and you're just doing unnecessary fills and unnecessary stuff, like sometimes the beauty is in the simplicity. When you listen
Yeah,
to the Beatles, nobody's ever going to say Ringo Starr was a technical drummer, but he was brilliant in playing what needed to be played when
yeah,
it needed to be played. He
exactly.
knew exactly what the song needed, and he played that.
Yeah,
You know, you don't always
I
have to
totally
play
get that.
like Keith Moon or John Bonham.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because they're. I mean, it's like they all have their own thing
Yeah.
going on, and
The
it
beauty
works
of
for
David
whatever band
Gilmour,
they're in. Huh?
the beauty of David Gilmour
Oh yeah,
is he will
Pink
play a
Floyd.
note and the space after the note is
It's,
is as beautiful as the note itself. There's this
it's the
airiness
feel.
to his playing, you
Yeah, it's the
know,
feel of it.
that and there's reasons that people don't imitate him because it's easy to play. Well, then
Yeah.
why don't more people do it? Because I can name one band that is really good at doing Pink Floyd, and
Well,
that
I know, but he's making love to his guitar.
right.
So
That's what I'm saying
it's
is
just like it's a feel, man. It could be the simplest thing,
yeah,
like when David Bowie hired
yes,
Stevie Ray Vaughan for his record, and he's doing a
right,
little less. They're easy as fuck, dude. But it's the feel. You feel
Yeah,
it, and that's what made it. That's what makes it.
yeah. Gary Moore to me will always be the greatest guitar player because, Gary played in a way that was just, it's hard to describe what Gary did. 1 second he would just be completely bluesy, and then he would go into the super fast fretting, and
Yeah,
then he would use the distortion with the knobs on the guitar, turning them up and down. And like Gary had so many techniques for
yeah.
creating sounds
Oh
that
yeah.
I've never heard anyone play with just the pure ferocity that Gary played with.
We
Um,
thank God for that. They're still there. That they're around, and they created something
yeah,
because guys like me and any other guitar player get influenced by that on
yeah,
top of Ace Frehley, top of Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy
yeah,
Page, you name it, and then you collaborate all your influences and then you create your own shit.
yeah.
And that's how it works,
So
man. You hear it on everybody's music. You
yeah,
hear everybody's influence, big time.
yeah. I mean, there's very little left that's original, but the true art is creating stuff that you can hear the influences, but you're sort of wearing them on the sleeve
It,
and you're
yeah,
still
but it
creating your
makes you
own style within the style.
it makes you rock, makes you move.
Yeah,
It works, and that's what I do when I write and when we're writing and then we put something together. It's just like, does it make us move? Is it something that we
yeah,
want to hear? You know what I mean? Then we bring in some other ears, and we hear it from our engineer guy, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I could make this work." And then again, like I said, we'll have a song a certain way, and then we go into the studio and it ends up a different way. But it's like, you know what? It fucking
yeah,
works.
yeah,
And that's the magic of it. And that's what I love about songwriting.
yeah. I've said for a long time, good music is what you hear, great music is what you feel.
Yeah. It's all about the feel, man. And then
Um,
hey, I want to say, going back, because you said you knew Tesla. We got a lot of love with those guys, man. We opened up for
yeah,
them at the House of Blues.
Mhm.
amazing guys.
Man, right, Aaron? It was a great fucking show.
Yeah. I I met Troy. They were doing a benefit for somebody, him and his son.
Yeah,
And I did an interview with Troy and super nice guy. And um, you know, like so many of the interviews I've done, either Dave has set it up for me. Um, I love Dave to death. Dave is just one of the greatest guys. Or
yeah,
I've happened upon them in really weird ways. Like I did an interview with Charlie Bonnet, who at the time was in Moccasin Creek. So they were doing the country rap thing.
oh,
And I
wow.
finished with Charlie, and Charlie's like, "Hey, you like Exodus, right?" And I was like, "I love Exodus. Like, my absolute vocal hero is Zitro." He goes, "Hey, do you want to interview him?" And I was like, "I would love to, but Zetro rarely does interviews." No, no, I'll get him on the phone, dude. You could do an interview with him. And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I hung the phone up, just thinking Charlie was completely full of shit, and you know,
Eh,
not knowing that Steve at the time was in the band with his sons, the Hatriot band. So I go into the kitchen, I start making a casserole for my kids for dinner, and the phone rings, and I pick the phone up, and I'm like, "Hello," and he's like, "Hey, is CJ there?" And I was like, "This is," and he goes, "Hey, this is Zitro," and my whole brain just sort of vapor locked because I'm like, "There's no fucking way!" Like I had like 400 posters of this guy on my wall, like everything in my being growing up. I wanted to be him. I wanted to scream like him. I just wanted to be that guy who wrote songs like, I have probably 150 songs that are in varying forms of not finished that are complete ripoffs of Zitro era Exodus songs.
oh yeah, dude,
Um,
Exodus. I remember
and
them in high school.
yeah, and I we talked for 3 hours. Like we talked like we had known each other our entire life. And I'm just even now, it's very surreal to me to know that I have his phone number and I can call him. And I don't because, I'm not going to just bug him fanboying, but
But you
you know,
can whenever you
I
want, right?
can, and
Yeah, you got
that's
his number.
surreal to me because 15-year-old me would have wrote a letter to the fan club. And if I was lucky, I might have got an autograph picture or an order form or something of that type. So to be able to do
Yeah,
this, to get on YouTube or Zoom or whatever, anytime I
yeah.
want, and talk to rock stars, talk to people who are in the industry, whether it's movies. I got to interview Lloyd Kaufman, which was another one,
Oh, nice.
massive Toxic Avenger fan. Talking to Lloyd was again so surreal because Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High, and so many other terrible, terrible, terrible movies that are so good you can't look away. It's
Those are always the good ones.
the 15-year-old in me comes out every time because it's just like it's just fucking crazy that I get to do this. Like
Yeah.
I know it's an honor. I know it's a privilege and I don't take it for granted. And I let every single person know that, look, I'm so grateful for you for taking the time to do this and allowing me to ramble like an idiot. And, you know, so
It
getting
brings the
back
kid out of you.
to where I was, where do they find the band, the videos, any tour dates or shows you guys might be doing? Um,
Oh yeah, I mean everything's going to be on on
Tell them.
Lovesick Drug Band, on Instagram, on Facebook. We're on Bandcamp. Obviously, we're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. Our next big show is May 22nd at House of Blues with Gene Simmons, which
oh
I
wow.
permagrin
Yeah.
for I can't even tell you how long. When I found out, I was literally jumping up and down. I think I scared a dog. But like,
Yeah.
right? Like so cool. So, but I know we're doing a couple more in between. And we'll be putting those out on our socials and everything. But yeah, Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook,
Okay.
places. You can go download our music. You can buy our actual album. It's really cool. I actually framed it. It looks so good.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can get
Oh, I
that.
love that picture. I
I
love that picture. That's
know.
so
We have really cool merch. If I can toot our own horn, like I even bought like a t-shirt dress that it's got like a really cool logo on it. And it says like Love Sick Drug Dallas, Texas, which I thought was kind of cool because it
yeah.
shows. But yeah, you can go to all of our stuff. We've got keychains. We've got hot sauce.
Yeah.
We have
We got hot sauce.
Nice.
We're kind of following the realms of Kiss. It's like, man,
gosh.
whatever could have Lovesick Drug on it should have Lovesick Drug on it.
I mean,
You know what?
I had some girlfriends of mine. They were texting me pictures. They were out shopping somewhere and they had Lovesick Drug stickers on the back of cars. And she was like, oh my God, my friend's a rock star. And it was just like the coolest thing ever because it's like, I think that the thing for me that makes me happy is to know that we're creating art that somebody other than us appreciates,
Right.
because music touches people the way nothing else on this planet can. I don't care where you come from, what color you are, what you look like, what religion you are, what your creed is. Music is magic to everyone, everywhere, all the time. And it's so cool to think that somebody else likes what we're doing.
Fuck yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love it.
Music has saved my life so many times. Like it just
you do know that the Cleveland Clinic actually did a study on music therapy and it actually cures a lot of illness over pills. That is scientific fact. So yeah, music is. I even have a thing in my bathroom that says it's a Mozart quote that music is the strongest form of magic. It's by Mozart. But we're trying. Every time we're on stage, I'm like, go buy our merch. We're poor.
yeah. Music really. I've seen music do things that were so far beyond explanation.
Oh yeah.
There's a small documentary that goes with the Cleveland Clinic thing.
Yeah,
it's called My Name is Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's sort of it has this older gentleman named Henry and he's deep dementia, Alzheimer's, and just his daughter's talking to him. He doesn't recognize her, nothing. Then they give him an
Yeah.
iPod with like the Count Basie stuff and the stuff that he grew up on. And upon hearing that music, he immediately
Yeah.
Yep.
is back and he
Yep.
recognizes his daughter.
Isn't
And
that
it's just
crazy?
like,
Isn't that crazy? Fuck.
It's
you
spiritual.
know,
It,
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 it is.
it just
And, music is,
to be a part of it. I can't, and I know that you've experienced it because you've been in a band. Billy has, I have, but when you're on stage and you get to connect with people that you don't know
yeah,
and they're taken out of their pain or wherever they are for that 30, 45 hour set and they reach out to you, like I just get
yeah,
chilled. I mean, it's like you're touching other souls. It's
right.
it's the coolest thing in the world to me. It's never been about look at me, watch me. Because I mean, I've been a model forever, and it's like at this point, it's just a job. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love it. It's fun, but music touches people.
Yeah.
It just does, and it's just cool.
I like it when I hear a song, man, and it makes you cry. I don't know
No,
if that ever happens to you guys.
no bumps.
Oh
That's when you
my
know
God.
fucking
Yep,
the song
yep,
is beautiful. Like music is beautiful. It
yep,
makes sense if it touches you like
It,
that.
yep.
there
For
are
the
songs that, not
yep.
just as a musician, but as a fan of music, there
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
are those songs that decades later, I can remember
Oh, yeah.
exactly where I was
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
when I
Yeah, yeah.
heard that song the first time.
Yep. And the
Or,
Yeah.
feeling.
there are songs that, um, I had a daughter, and I hate bringing this up, but just for the sake of where this story kind of goes, I had a daughter in 2010. She was born with trisomy 13. Um, she only survived 4 days.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear
Trisomy
that.
13, if it's, cleft lip, uh, roof of the
Yeah.
mouth formed, extra digits, um, a lot of things. But shortly after she passed, 6 a.m. released the song Skin. And I cannot listen to that song without just
Balling.
bawling because,
Yeah.
Because
you
it's
know, as many
yep.
petty quabbles as I've had with Nicky over the years over some of the stuff he said, um, I give Nicky credit in writing that song that says, "You are not your skin. Show them who you are within."
Yep.
And I can't listen to that song without thinking of I wish people I wish she would have got to grow up. I wish they would have known her
Yeah.
beyond the pictures of having the cleft lip and having the
Yep.
six fingers in whatnot in the absolute people die. I get that. Death is an invariable part of life. But as a parent, there is no part of you that can prepare for losing a child. No matter what
No,
you've gone through, no matter what you've done or
yeah.
experienced,
No, I get that, dude. And
that punch in the gut, man, is
yeah,
so raw.
I got
So,
kids,
you
and
know,
that would devastate me. But
yeah,
you
like
would
it's
always
just
you always say the kid needs to bury you. You don't bury your kids.
yeah. But I mean, life happens. Sometimes it's unfortunate you do. Um,
Yeah.
but Skin is one of those songs, and it's a beautiful, gorgeous song. I'm so glad Nikki wrote it. Um, but it is a hard song. Leader of the band, because of my relationship with my dad, is another band that, or is
I'm gonna
another
go hear
song
that
that,
song now.
yeah, I love
I'm gonna
Dan
go listen to it.
Fogelberg. Um, the my father, I had a very not good relationship with him, but my father has said "I love you" exactly one time in his life to me. I remember the exact time, the exact day that he
Yeah,
said it, because when you only say something to somebody one time, it's a singular moment in your life. So at the end of
yeah.
that song, when Dan Fogelberg sings and Papa, I don't think I've said I love you near enough. That song just immediately makes me cry because
Boom.
that
Yeah.
that part of my life with my dad of only having said I love you one time. I don't want to have the relationship I do with him, but unfortunately, he chooses that. So it just is what it is. I can't. you can't force somebody to love you. So I've
Yeah.
written songs about it. I've written lyrics about it. I've sung poorly on songs about how I wish I had the relationship with my father. But there
I
are
mean,
those songs going back to whatever that,
dude,
you
you
know,
should write a song about it and release it
I
just for your own
I've
sake.
I've I've
You're
written songs. I
somebody's
don't play an instrument. That's the thing. So
Oh, now
I
I mean, you got Garage Band these days. You know, you can use that. Just come up with a
yeah. So
little rhythm and then
part
just
of
write
my
the
degree that
lyrics.
I'm studying does include music production and songwriting and whatnot. So I am going to get to that. Um, and it will come out, but it'll be it'll probably be in sort of a Blue October style of that.
Yeah,
Justin is
it's
another
just
type
for
of
you.
guy,
You should do it for you. Whatever comes
but
out with in your soul.
Justin has Justin has a style that I just relate so deeply to,
Right.
so I just know that when I record this song, even though I don't know what it's going to sound like, I just have a feeling that it's going to sound like Blue October. I just, I just have this feeling that that's where it's going to
oh
go.
my phone's
Um,
dying. How much longer I'm gonna last? I'm trying to plug it in.
um,
Oh, no, I
they,
had to do that myself.
yeah. So guys, thank you for appearing on here. I wish you great success with the record, great success with the
Thank
shows.
you, man. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you so much.
find these guys and lady. um, Love Sick Drug. She showed you the thing. Cool art, cool graphics. Find them Bandcamp, Apple Music, Spotify, all the other great. Actually, buy the merch if possible because we all know Spotify and Apple ain't paying shit.
Yeah, man.
Merch is where it's really at. Check this
Please,
gentleman
yes.
out. He's been in a ton of cool movies. One Day as a Lion, Three from Hell, the Machete movies, Alita Battle Angel, which I'm so happy that they're finally making a part two to. Um,
Yeah.
a great episode of MacGyver. I had to go look it up. I love what they did. Dude, I love Peter Lenkov. Like what he has done with MacGyver, Hawaii Five O, and Magnum blows my mind. Like,
Yeah.
three shows that were so iconic when I heard he was
Oh,
doing them.
yeah.
Like, you can't
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
with those shows. And he has succeeded at every level of not only creating a new show in his place,
Yeah.
but keeping the original pieces in place so that you recognize,
Oh, of course. Yeah,
the new
you have
Magnum
to.
show, even though he changed with Jay Hernandez and went from the white guy to Hispanic guy, kept the
Yeah.
dogs, kept the mansion, kept the Ferrari, kept the Tiger's hat, kept the helicopter. It's such a brilliant way that he has gone from one to the other. So
Yeah.
effortless. Let's putting Scott as playing Danny, and playing on the Bookham Dano thing, I thought was and Scott is so fucking amazing in that role. Um,
Yeah. No, he
you know,
killed it.
the MacGyver one, I was really skeptical of the MacGyver one, but every single person in that cast is so fucking great. Um,
Nice.
Absolutely in love with the Riley character. It's such a brilliant character, that sort of beautiful but deadly hacker, type.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
It worked.
Love Sick Drug. We keep getting off track. I keep getting off track.
It's all
Find
good.
beautiful people, buy their merch, attend the shows.
And follow
And
us on social media, please.
yes, and
Instagram.
as always, playing into what we were talking about very recently, how I end every show. Be well, treat each other with kindness. And remember, no matter what you're going through, music heals.
That's great.
Be excellent with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.